Ever heard of doing MBA without GMAT? Now you can. The Technical University of Munich in Germany is one of the entrepreneurial universities, and they are offering a platform to study MBA without having to do a GMAT or a GRE. They're curtailing the orthodox MBA system and are bringing transformational means to recruit students and make them experience the business side of the world. This university has ranked second for 2 consecutive years in the QS ranking for business management in Germany. Now, this is what they're offering. They have 3 different executive MBA programs. The first one is the General Executive MBA. The second is Executive MBA in Business and IT. And the third is Executive MBA in Innovation and Business Creation. These programs are a little different from one another, and they have brought together some integration between business and other disciplines. To give you a gist of why actually there are 3 different programs and how different they are, let me give you some bullet points into how they are different. So for example, in the General MBA, there is leadership development and strategy and organization that you will get to learn and study. Whereas in the Business and IT MBA, it's more like the IT integration and the digital transformation that you will get to study. And the third one, where you do innovation and business creation, there are innovation management techniques being taught as well as entrepreneurial techniques. So there are modules and courses that are different for all these 3 programs, but there are some things that are very similar throughout these 3 courses. Let's talk about that. The first one is that it's part-time. All 3 programs are part-time, which means you'll be done in 2 years and you can do your full-time job while studying. There will be 4 semesters and a master's thesis. All 3 programs will have 6 core modules, and in addition to that, you have to do some electives as well. Coming to the fee structure, all 3 MBA programs are going to cost 39,000 euros. That means 39,000 for 2 years. You can give the payment as a whole, or you will be charged in 4 different installments, that is some fees per semester, and that will turn out to be 9,750 euros. In addition, there is a student union fee that is also charged per semester, which is around 100 euros or 104 euros per semester. One of the biggest attractions in these programs is the international trip. So during your program, there will be around 10 days that you will get to go to another country and do your international trip. So it will be a module abroad. For each program, they have different universities. Either you get to go to University of California, Berkeley in the US, or you get to be in Beijing, China. These days there is COVID restrictions, so they are coming up with another country or another university you can do your module abroad, but usually these are the 2 universities they do have a collaboration with, and you get to experience those for more than a week, up to 10 days. But keep in mind, this trip is not covered within the program. This is additional airfare cost and living expenses that the student has to bear himself, herself. Okay, now comes the admission requirements. If there is no GRE, what is the criteria? So let me tell you that. The first thing is you need to have a bachelor's degree or any degree that is equivalent to the master's entry level. Then comes 3 years of work experience. Since this is an executive MBA, you need to have some work experience, which should be up to 3 years starting from your first degree. So if you have multiple degrees, you already have bachelor's as well as master's and then so on, what you need to do is figure out that starting from the graduation, the very first graduation till date, you need to have 3 years of work experience. Sometimes PhD is also counted as work experience, but then you can interact and talk to them and ask if your PhD will be counted in the work experience or not. Third thing is the English proficiency. The whole program, all 3 programs are taught in English language, and for that you need to show your English language proficiency. You can show that as a test, which would be either IELTS or TOEFL, or there are certificates that you can show where it proves that your previous degrees have been in English language, and that will waive off the test. Let me show you now the flexibility in the part-time schedule. So here is a detailed schedule for MBA in Innovation and Business Creation, and this is for the class of 2025. And you can see that the highlighted chunk is showing module for each month, and there are only a couple of days up to a maximum of 5 days that you have to study in a month. And here you can see, for example, if I zoom into October and November of 2023, You see here from 17 to 22, that's the only time you have to attend the classes in October. TUM is vastly accepting international students. And for the MBA programs, more than a third of their class is international, with innovation and business creation going more than 50%. Now let's talk about some differences in these three programs. You know for sure that the material and the content within the courses will be different based on the specialization that you're trying to do in the MBA, but there are some differences as well. The first one is that there will be two intakes. The fall intake, which is when the classes start in October in Germany, all three programs are going to take fall intakes, whereas only two programs are going to take spring intake, which starts in April, and that's for the Executive MBA and the Business and IT MBA. Innovation and Business Creation is only doing their batches in October. All these programs will be in Munich, but for the Business and IT, they also do some classes and some modules in St. Gallen, which is in Switzerland. So actually, for the Business and IT, you get to be in 3 different countries: Switzerland, Germany, and one international trip, which will be the USA. The applications run throughout the year, so you don't need to have a specific deadline to make or prepare your documentation and application. And again, none of these programs has to have GRE or GMAT as their admission criteria, which is like the best thing. All right, talking about the application procedure. There is an online application portal. You have to fill out the application. There is essay that needs to be done, which is more like your letter of motivation. And then there are documentation submission, of course, your transcripts and your degrees from all previous degrees, as well as other certification or documents that you have. You attach that along with your application. And the second step is you get an informal interview. Now, this interview is only for you to understand if you really would like to do this program, and for them to figure out if you are a good candidate for their program. So it's more like a conversation instead of a case study interview that we mostly find in other traditional MBA admissions. On average, for each program, there are around 30 to 40 students in one batch. And I think that's a good enough strength, because it's not a lot, it's not too less, and that makes it a very good alumni setup as well. I hope this information was valuable, but there are a couple of more ways that you can get further information. The first one is they do a lot of virtual information sessions. So if you go to their websites, they will be having frequent events where there are webinars and you can get to know more about their programs. And there you can be part of these webinars and ask your questions. Another attractive part was one-on-one consultation sessions. So every program has their own program manager, and they will do a one-on-one consultation with you where they are ready to answer all your questions that you have, and they could be regarding your work experience or your eligibility, if you match or you don't match, because usually all these MBA programs, students are coming from all different disciplines, not just business side. So engineers are there, and then IT graduates are there. There are social science people as well. So basically, one-on-one consultation will give you an idea of where do you fit and how you can improve your profile in order to start your MBA with them. The other thing to get information is they are doing a CV assessment free of charge. So you can email them your CV and they will get to review it, and they will get back to you with some feedback about your application and your profile. I attended one-on-one consultation sessions for all 3 programs, and I was much satisfied because all the program managers were able to tell the differences between one program to the other, and they were able to answer other questions that were more in the personal side. Talking to them, I understood how well connected they are with the industries as well as the corporate world. Every now and then guests are invited and students get to interact with them. They get to speak with them after the sessions and share your questions, build up your network, so all of that jazz. I was also told that 30% of their students have been founders of some startup, so that's pretty amazing. Last but not the least, you can sign up for their newsletter, and you will get some information about their programs on your email every now and then, so you'll keep yourself updated. This might help you with the decision making of doing the MBA. So this was all the information for the TUM MBA programs. Get your resume reviewed and make those first steps to get into the business world.